Never been a big fan of this time of year. The weather gets colder, the clocks go back, it gets darker, so things sometimes get delayed, and in this case it's been delayed for about a month, so many apologies for that. However, a while ago someone asked me to do an investigation and a report into the spate of Reptilian videos that are on YouTube. So I thought I would, and that's what I've been doing over the past few weeks, is researching and similar things to kind of help either prove or debunk it. Now, coming from the area of knowledge that I'm in, which is somebody who is learning as much as he can about film production and similar, I had quite a lot to build up on, you know, so that's why it's taken such a while, and there's been a lot of things distracting me in the 3D world as well, which I'm sure I'll discuss at some point. However, finally, after a long wait, here is my video on the Reptilian video phenomenon. One of the first and most prevalent misconceptions about digital video is that video is like film. The idea of there being 24 pictures, not unlike JPEGs, cascading onto the screen in order, causing the illusion of movement, is a common one. However, this is a very inaccurate idea of how the process of video conversion and compression actually work, for one very simple reason: space. To truly illustrate why this isn't possible, let's start off quite simply by explaining how my videos work. My videos are recorded in 720 progressive at 29 frames per second. Digital videos and monitors are split into pixels. In my video, there are 921,600 pixels in any one frame. These pixels are a mixture of red, blue and green elements which, when combined, can make up a possible 16 million different colours. That essentially means that if we got a group of people together and distributed among them an equal amount of either red, blue, green and black pots of paint, and asked each group of 4 to make one of the colours that any pixel can be asked to make, it would require 64 million people working in 16 million groups to make every single possible colour, which is the equivalent of the population of Thailand, or, closer to home, the population of the UK, its outlying islands and Jamaica combined. This means that the number of possible colour and pixel combinations that has to be communicated to my machine for one frame of data would be around 5,898,240,000,000,000. This means that if we wanted to record every single colour of every single frame, pixel for pixel, at this resolution, we'd be looking at around 5 megabytes of data per frame. That's an absolute fuckload of data. So, by taking this example, if I were to not compress one of my videos and tell my computer to record the colour of every single pixel in every single frame, this 10-second shot from my screen test for my new studio takes up around 791 megabytes. This is the equivalent of a single compact disc, 15 minutes of compressed video when uploaded to YouTube, or a DVD quality DivX file downloaded from the Pirate Bay. A minute of footage at this quality would not fit on a DVD. So, it's simply not viable for digital video to work in this way. Let's look at the ways we cut down on this data problem. We came up with several ways to do so, and these different methodologies have been placed into schemas we can then use called codecs. The first thing any codec worth its salt will do will be to create macro blocks. A macro block is usually found to be a 16 by 16 grid of information which contains data about the elements inside the block. This is motion data, luminescence data, the type of block it is, what it predicts the next movement will be, etc. The advantage of this is that if during a transmission there is an error in the reception of a group of macro blocks, the rest of the image is unaffected while error correction software on the receiving apparatus can continue as normal. Macro blocking refers to when this occurs. The square areas of the picture do not show the correct portion of the image. Instead, they will either show a single colour block or a low resolution block with noticeable edges. This effect is also referred to as tiling, mosaicing, pixelating, quilting, or checkerboarding. Occasionally, this effect is transmission based and will usually happen semi-randomly for singular frames, focusing on elements with a lot of motion for reasons I will shortly explain. The next thing a codec will do is split the individual frames of the video files into 3 types of frame. I'm only going to explain 2, as only 2 are really relevant to this video, and it's usually only 2 which are used when videos are uploaded to YouTube. The first is the iframe. An iframe usually occurs when a camera cut happens and in predefined junctures after said cut occurs. An iframe is an intra-coded picture, which means in the middle of the video is a fully coded picture. This usually happens every 25 to 30 frames or once every second, but can be taken as far as around 300 frames for low motion or low quality data shots. The second type of frame is the P-frame. This is the progressive frame. This records the difference between the frame in front of it and the frame behind it. For instance, on this image of, say, Jenna Bush's appearance on My Fox LA, the P-frames will be reorganizing the macro blocks on her face while ignoring the background, which is why we see this error occur on a lot of faces. We'll talk more about this video in particular shortly. If we were to take a video and remove all the iframes, except the ones at the beginning, our result would look as follows.
No, data mush.
This is the data musher. He began an online art movement known as data mushing. Following his online tutorials, one can learn how to remove iframes using a codec called FFmpeg and mix 2 videos together.
Compressed video memorizes every pixel of an iframe. A P-frame, on the other hand, just records the change from the last frame. So this is an iframe, and then the next one is a P-frame. The arrows indicate how the pixels have moved since that last frame. Here it's pretty much just his leg moving a little bit. And then the next frame shows the movement since the last frame, and it's also just his leg moving. And then he does a little hop, and a nice kick, and you can see his butt, and so on.
One of my favourite works of his was used in the trailer for this episode. And, with an understanding of how it is done, one can easily see it, an illustration of what happens when iframes are removed from a sequence of images, leaving only P-frames to tell your computer what the difference is between one shot and another. I tried this myself and had some difficulty. However, I did manage to apply it to the Jenna Bush video and found this interesting artifact appear on the eyes of one of its subjects after processing. As there are substantially less iframes in this video to correct any errors, the error we see is affecting an area of high movement, in this case the eyes, and as a result it's giving the appearance of the eyes staying closed when they are in fact open. This is often on Reptilian vids online. Here I'm going to play Club to Death by Rob Duggan and slow motion pan into this error. The reason I use Rob Duggan is because it was used to great effect in the reveal scene of The Matrix, in which Morpheus explains to the character Neo that his world is an illusion. This has, for many people, anchored a feeling of uncovering the truth, as the brain has no hardwired way to differentiate between the fiction of television and the reality of the world around them, and so for many people, the soundtrack to this sequence has become music which causes them to psychologically believe they are being let into some form of hidden esoteric truth. While doing this, I'm also going to put text on the screen informing the viewer that this is unequivocal evidence of Jenna Bush shapeshifting before their eyes, and if they are unable to comprehend this, then I am vastly more intelligent than them. Playing on the viewer's feelings of inadequacy is a very effective method, as those who do not conform to this alteration of worldview will feel outcast, and those who do conform can continue inadvertently reinforcing the deception on behalf of the original poster. Also, as the original paradigm shift which occurs in the viewer is entirely based on ego-based emotions of self-valuation, such as the fear of being considered a sheeple, any form of criticism or debate will be seen as an attack on the individual themselves and will be disregarded or violently defended. This is the same methodology often seen in the mainstream media to discredit dissenters, by painting them as fringe lunatics or idiots and therefore making any agreeing viewers feel stupid.
Is the force of love in control of this world, guiding this planet at this time? Of course not. The negativity, the thoughts that I'm talking about that are very destructive, are pouring out of this planet
let me
every
interrupt
day.
you. Was it a great shock for you to discover this at 38?
Well, I think the word is gobsmacked. But again, you know, the best way of removing negativity is to laugh and be joyous. So I'm delighted that there's so much laughter in the audience tonight.
But no,
but just let me say this.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.